Today I'm working on a 99 CRV. I'm going to do a timing belt. There's probably a half a gazillion YouTube videos on this, but I'm going to do mine my way anyways. Yeah, it's a B20 engine. CRV B20s, B18s, B16, Civic SIs. Yeah, the B18s coming in Acura Integras too. CRVs. They're pretty much all the same engine. It's all the same stuff. So there's a little bit of difference between them, but not much really. It's all pretty much the same stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to dive right in. First thing I'm going to do, you got to get this cover off of here. This plastic cover. So you can get the harmonic balancer out. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to take this harmonic balancer off by hand too. I generally use an impact. A lot of times an impact wrench doesn't work anyways, so I'm sure a lot of people don't have them. So I'm going to show you how I take them off by hand. Yeah, you got like 3 of these clips. Usually you just unscrew them. They pop right out like that. A lot of times, yeah, you don't even need a tool for these. You can just take them out with your fingers if you're lucky. And there's one more somewhere down here. There you are, right there. You can just bend this out of the way. Don't be afraid, it's Honda plastic. It won't break. Usually. You're gonna get one of these tools. You can rent one at parts stores or just buy one. They're not that expensive. I think they're like 30 bucks or something. Honda harmonic balancer removal tool. Just want to stick a breaker bar on here or something. You're going to want to use an extension of some kind. Everybody usually just uses a jack handle. Yeah, it's pretty simple though. Just put this on here and hopefully you can get it. They're pretty tight on here. Try it again. There, I got it. Just like that. Got this drop rod too for the hood. That thing's going to get in your way. It's going to drive you nuts. You probably want to prop up the hood with something else because it's all on this side. I use a tire because I have one, whatever. I'm going to get this ground out of the way. 2 12 millimeters for the power steering pump. You want to kind of bend this tab a little bit here. Pull that reservoir up. Okay, good. That's going to stay there. There's a tensioner bolt for that air conditioning down there. And then you got another 12 millimeter on the top of the alternator you want to get off. Actually, you just want to loosen this one up. And then there's a 14 underneath. You can just get up here with a pry bar and just get in between the frame and pull on the alternator. There, just like that, and that'll loosen your belt. Okay, now you got to take out the valve cover. I'm going to do this all magical like. Watch this. 14 millimeter here. 4 bolts on this plenum, take that off. 2 bolts here, take that off. Take your PCV valve off. Take a bunch of 10 millimeter nuts off. Unplug this hose. Boom! Magic! I already did it, I forgot to hit record, so there it is. One thing you want to make sure of when you do this, I mean, if you put this all together and you start this car up, make sure you put this plenum on because of this open hole right here. You see that? Yeah. That open hole is going to make this car go wide open throttle because it's after the throttle body. So that has to be plugged up. So that big plenum has to be on here when you try to run this thing. Next thing I'm going to do is drain the coolant. There's going to be a bunch in the engine anyways, but regardless, you're going to want to put a drain pan down here and get in here and loosen this this drain plug. Yeah, if you want, if this thing's giving you a hard time, you can just get in here with a 19mm socket because it kind of fits. There it is. Take these 3 nuts off, 17mm, and yeah, they don't like to come off sometimes. I'm going to leave that one on there and take these 14mm off. I can just take this whole thing out of here. I want to take these bolts off. Yeah, that's like way too loose. And yeah, you want to get them 2 marks lined up. Get that bolt out, this thing just falls right out. Keep wiggling it back and forth. You're going to lose this key too if you're not careful. That key. Take this out. Yeah, see this mark right here? That mark right there. The mark on the pulley. And then there's an arrow. You want to make sure those are lined up. You want to take this thing completely out. If you were just doing a belt, you could just loosen this up. That tensioner. But I'm replacing it, so I'm going to take everything out. Alright, now there's a water pump. This right here is a water pump. I'm going to be replacing that. Yeah, there should be 4 bolts for this. I'm going to take this top one out up here first. There's 4 or 5, I can't remember which. And you don't want to take these all the way out, you just want to loosen them up. Because it's going to get messy. I think I said that already. It's going to get messy. It's going to get messy. You just want to get up here with a pry bar and try not to get your camera full of antifreeze. Give it a pull and it should start dripping for you. If you take a lot of them bolts out and loosen them up a lot and pull on that thing, this thing will just flush coolant all over the place. It's a horrible mess. So yeah, I'll just let it dribble. I forgot a bolt. There's one over here too, right up next to the alternator. I'm going to loosen that one up. Okay, this thing's pretty much done dripping, so I'm back to it. 2 different length bolts too. You're going to want to make sure, like this one came out of the very top right corner, and this one came out of the one just below it. They're different sizes. So you don't want to mix those up. I never really put bolts in order anywhere because basically I just stick them in the hole, and if you stick them all in the hole and they're all the same, they're all the same length. You know, they got the same amount of threads to screw in, then you know they're in the right spot. If one's longer than the other or shorter, then you know it's going to be wrong. If you just want to hit the gasket surface with a razor blade, go around with a razor blade just in case there's any deposits stuck on here. Yeah, most people tell you can use light silicone or just put them in dry. I don't. I use Permatex just because I can, and they've never leaked on me that way. It doesn't take much though. Most people, when they use silicone, they put like gobs of it on everything. I just use a really light bead. See, it's not a lot. It's just gonna, I might not even see it push out. It's just a very little bit. That's how I like to do them, because they'd never leak on me like that. Now when this thing goes up here too, there's a plastic lip right here and a little rubber grommet-y thing that's fallen off. That always falls off. Yeah, it won't stay up there. Nuts on it. So yeah, you gotta kind of horseshoe it up there a little bit. And most of these Hondas have an alignment pin on here, but there's no pins on this. See, that's how I know. See how short that one is? See how long this one is? This one's in the wrong spot. I suppose you can use a torque wrench if you really want. The torque is, look it up on Google. I don't. Pin goes here. Okay, there. Oh yeah, now, yeah, that's right. Pull this tensioner all the way loose. As loose as it can go, so pull it down. It'll make your life easy. Okay, and the trick here is the drive side is the front side. The driven side is the back side. So the driven side is loose. You want to make sure the drive side is tight. The driven side is a little loose, and in between the cams up on top, the belt should be fairly tight too. Okay, back up on the top. These cam gears, they didn't want to stay zeroed, so I don't know if this can focus on it or not. But yeah, I got them lined up, and I just took a vice grip and locked it down. Just so long as the belt fits right and the cam's locked down, you're good. That's gonna work just like that. I got cam gear holders too, but they're crap. I don't like using them. They're a pain in the butt. A lot of times they don't work the way they're supposed to. I got vice grips everywhere. So you can see when this is on, the drive side is pretty much tight. And I got vice grips holding both of these on. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on them because you don't want to crimp the belt or pinch it. I got another vice grip down there with the two marks lined up. So all that's lined up. You can probably just use like them plastic clamps too if you want. You can just get some of these, like $2-3 for a set from Walmart. And you can just clamp the belt onto the pulley and use a vice grip to clamp the pulleys together to keep them from moving. Now hopefully I can get this on without a fuss. That one's lined up. Then these tabs, you know, I got it pretty close. Tab, they're pretty lined up. Timing marks, they're lined up pretty good. So, yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's fun too. I took this, I just took them clamps off, and look, the top belt is really loose now. It just loosened right up. The marks are still pretty close. You can see that. And then this side is tight though. The drive side, that's the part you need to be concerned about. You want to make sure the drive side is tight, because the tensioner is going to take up all of this slack. Now for the tensioner. You want to get in here, loosen this up. It's spring loaded, so the spring will pull it in just a little bit, but not too much. What you want to do is get in here with a screwdriver, and you want to get in between, see where the spring is right here? Yeah, you can use a really long screwdriver. I got a hook tool though. You want to push up on this and get it really tight, and then just let it fall back down on its own. And you want to check this especially. You want to go back upstairs. You want to make sure make sure it's not loose right here. It's just a hair loose. Actually, I tugged on it and it got looser. So that's not good. You want it just a little tighter than that. I mean, it's going to work, but I don't like it. So I'm going to do it my way, of course. You know, these things loosen up in like a day, too. I mean, it's just, as soon as you run them, they loosen up just a little bit. So I'm just going to get it a hair tighter, because the spring tension sucks. Doesn't take much. I think I got it. Yeah, I got it. Get this good and tight. So yeah, this drive side, if you can turn it, see I can turn it almost a quarter of a turn. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's actually about 1/8 of a turn, and that's good. You want to be able to turn it about that much. It's just a little loose. And I'm going to go back upstairs again, and I'm going to make sure, because that one cam likes to move and it likes to loosen up this belt. See, I got just a little bit there. And then if you go in here, I got just a little bit here. That's good. You don't want it too tight. You get it too tight, it'll make noise and it'll start wearing out bearings and pulleys. And it's going to get a little looser, like right away after it runs. This belt's going to just get a little wore in, and it's going to stretch a little. So then, yeah, just triple check your marks. And that bar inside the pulley and this arrow, that's lined up. That's lined up. Those are lined up. That's lined up. Both sides are nice and tight. Now I can just button this back up. First thing you never want to forget, always put that on first. Put the pin back in. The key. The key. Don't forget the key. Now with this, you want to lightly oil this washer. You can put a little on the bolt thread too, it won't hurt nothing. Just so you get the right torque out of this. Because if you don't get the right torque, these things are known to come right apart on you. Get a little in between this washer here. Because if you don't get it in between the washer, your torque's not going to be right. That's the important part. Probably more important than the threads. You don't want that bolt locking up on that washer because it's going to read wrong. There, that feels good. Okay. You're going to put this thing back together like you had it when you took it off, and you got to tighten this down to 130 foot-pounds. You don't want to skimp on this torque either. It's got to be tight or this pulley's going to come loose. I've seen it happen so many times. On this valve cover, I already put these little seals in. You just want to make sure these grooves are clean. Make sure there's no goop stuck in them. A little bit of oil there, that's no big deal. Yeah, this gasket just presses right in there. You want to clean all these four corners. Usually gasket sealant in there. Wipe all this down. Make sure there's no grit, grime, grainy. You can hit it with a razor blade or a scraper too. Get a can of brake cleaner. You want to dab the four corners to get the oil off of the corners. If you don't do that, then the sealant's not going to stick. Put a little dab of Permatex on all four of these corners. Put this black cover on here. Unless you're like those people that like to think that it's cool not to have a cover. I don't think it's very cool not to have a cover. In fact, I think it's kind of stupid because it's there for a reason. Keeps everything clean. Keeps the dirt out of everything. Don't need to see the little thing moving round and round and round. And I got new little gaskety washers for these. Yeah, with these it's generally fairly smart to start in the middle and work your way out, but don't go too tight all the way right away. Push that thing down a little at a time. You don't need to crank on these real hard either. I don't know what the torque spec is because I don't use one. I know it feels good. I've done this for so many dang years. Yeah, there's a little square hole here so you can put a 1/2-inch ratchet in. I don't have any bolts left over. I gotta add coolant. I'm gonna start this thing. Let's see if I blew it up. That sounds right. Okay, I'm calling that good. I'm gonna fill it full of coolant and get it the heck out of here. Have a great day.